Introduced you last week, we will begin with this text which you all have in your hand, I hope, I presume. If you don't, go to the shop, bookshop and get it. Not now. Jnanasara. Last year we saw two texts. First one is Manashodhanam, purity of mind, purification of the mind. And also Bhakti Sudha, the nectar of devotion. And this year, to begin with, we'll see the essence of knowledge. First of all, we should have a sense of knowledge. Yesterday also in a satsang I was telling them, why do you send your children to school? So that they can go to university. Okay. Why do you want to send them to university? So that then they become professionals. Why do you want them to be professionals? They get a good job. Oh. Why do you want them to get a good job? They cannot have enough money to be comfortable. Why do you want them to be comfortable? So that they can comfortably die. The purpose of sending school is not comfort, but to understand choices. Knowledge gives us choices. Ignorance doesn't. A man who has knowledge has more choices. A person who is not educated doesn't have much choice. Because he or she is not probably able to think the possibilities. There may be some people born with that understanding, I'm not doubting that. And as well, he or she is not capable of doing something which he does not know, which he has not learned. So when you are sending the child to school to learn any skill or any other particular science or whatever, it is basically to gain understanding of it and choose whether I want this or over that. If that choices are not there, you are stuck with whatever is coming to you, whatever the life offers to you, whatever the circumstances in which you are put in. That is, man of knowledge has got to choose. Okay, I can do this or I can do that. So then, knowledge, we must understand the sense of knowledge. What is this knowledge is all about? In the same way, as much as in the academic world we have this variegated possibilities through learning and studying, so also In the world of spirituality, in the world of personal transformation, in the field of personal emancipation, one should know how and what and why and where. So the knowledge is that which frees a person. Ignorance freezes the person. When you want to be free or freeze, you are all alive, awake, I hope. You can freely move around. When you are sleeping, you are free. Isn't that frozen in one condition? Sitting, lying down in a condition which nobody wants to see it. You do not know what condition you are also. Do you know? When you are sleeping, the mouth is open or how many flies have gone inside and outside, and you have no idea. Whether you are wearing a dress properly or you have no idea. Once you have gone to sleep, you are not aware of it. No freedom. Comfort all right. No freedom. But as you are alive, as you are awake, you have freedom to go or not to do this or that. Knowledge gives that freedom. The choices. So in the world of spirituality, what we mean by that is presently we are victim of what happens in our mind. There's anger or jealous and happiness. Whatever is the condition of the mind, that is what I am conditioned by. But should I? Should I be the victim of what my mind is? Or what thoughts others are bringing into me? What emotions others are trying to evoke in me? Should I be? Or do I have a choice? Not to be a victim of situations. Not to be influenced by what others do, others say. Do I have that choice? Those who do not have that choice are called samsari. They are very sorry about themselves. Sansari is called. You need not be that sorry state of affair. You have a choice. So, study of scriptures, study of this knowledge, or understanding of this knowledge, is not a ritual. It is not something you are forced to do or you have to do, but you choose to do. Well, nobody can force you to think. You can choose to think. The knowledge is giving you a suggestion, an advice, a direction, a possibility. So then, this study of this particular text is to free ourselves, provided we emulate what is said there. It is not a very big text, huge textbook like Bhagavad Gita, which Mahadevanji will be handling for many years probably. Because it is an exhaustive one. Here it is the essence. Because nowadays we want everything in a nutshell. Isn't it? We don't want to go elaborately on anything. But at the same time, do understand that it is only giving you a glimpse of it. It's like a peephole, you just see it. But if you want to enjoy it, break the barriers and go there. But you must first of all get impressed by what you see. As it is such a beautiful statement stated by a great saint, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. He said, somebody asked him, why people are calling you Bhagavan? He said, I don't know. I am only a hole in the wall. You put your eyes close to the hole and you see a vast beauty. I am just a hole, but through which you see the beauty. I am serving that purpose. In the same way, scriptures are the windows to wisdom. Windows are not wisdom, but windows to wisdom. The windows are open, you see what is beyond. Windows are closed, you're still stuck with your own small little hole where you are. 4 walls, ceiling, and then you get, oh, I'm in darkness. So when the windows are open, you see the vast beauty of outside. So the wisdom is opened up through the windows of scriptures. So study should be optional, out of choice. And with that understanding, we'll open up this text, page 3. Please buy the book. I'm not selling the book for you. Idea is that so that you can go home and read it yourself. Nothing stays here. Always it doesn't stay here. Very often we think that, oh, Swamiji, what you said is very clear in my mind. I can remember it. I'm telling you, just the way you walk outside this room, immediately forget. Because you don't find your shoes in place. So all that occupies in your mind that time is, where is my shoe? Where is my shoe? Bhagavan, Brahman are gone. Shoes. By the time you reach the car, your phone is ringing, your child is crying, and all those things. You get into that, and you go there and reach. What did Swami say? Your wife will ask. He said something. I don't know. Some jokes he said. So, book will help you to sustain that understanding. Aradyam paramam ramam natva bhaktya cha sadgurum jnanasaram pravakshyami swatmanishtaika siddhaye. Any undertaking should begin with humility, because you do not know all what is going to come. You may attempt something, but not necessarily what you are attempting to do is what is going to happen. There are many, many factors that can influence any action that you do. For example, I am talking to you. Do I assume that you all are listening to me? Then I must be a fool. Right? At the end of the talk, I ask you, so what did you understand? What? What I was talking to you. What did you say? Now, whatever I said, oh, you also don't know. No, I know it. But do you understand? I cannot assume that you are all listening to me. Because whatever I am saying I know it. But I cannot assume that you are listening the same thing. Some of you in the corner, you are sitting there, you are already texting. That I know. Tweeting. I think it is boring here. I don't know why I am thinking here. Anyway. So I cannot assume. So in the same way, when a person is doing an action and the result is entirely dependent upon he or him, her, then predictable. When an action is undertaken where you do not know how many people are involved in this, you can never predict the results. So he says, I am writing this book with an assumption that you are all reading, but I therefore invoke the God's grace. So it's a tradition in Hinduism as well as in many other religions as well. Any undertaking should be done with humility and total salutation to the Lord as well as the teacher who taught. On the grace of the Lord, the grace of the Guru, and humility. Aradyam paramam ramam, the Aradyam Ramam, the one most worshipful. Radha in Sanskrit means to worship. Radha, you know that. Aradhana. Aradhana comes from the root word Rad, Radhyate. That which is worshipful. She was constant in worship of Krishna. That's why she is Radha. Aradhyam, worshipful. Ramam, Paramam, supreme, the Lord Rama. Then Bhaktya Natva. And with all devotion, saluting whom? Sadgurum. Lord, the teacher also. I therefore salute with devotion the Lord, who is most worshipful, as well as my teacher. Sadguru, not sad guru, because in English it's a sad guru. Guru cannot be sad. If you go to a sad guru, you will also become sad. Go to a dentist who must have some teeth. You go to a dentist who is completely teethless, you will be very not sure whether what will happen to you. So, why are you doing all these things? Jnanasaram pravakshyami. I shall speak about this essence of knowledge. Jnanasaram pravakshyami. And for what purpose? That has to be explained here. Swatma nishta eka siddhaye. For my own self-abidance. In my own self. Swatmanishta. Atmanishta means abidance or staying in one's own self. Eka siddhaye, for that purpose only. Not to show how much I know, my skills, my abilities to write or communicate. That's not the purpose. So that by reflecting upon this knowledge, may I remain in my own self. Self-abidance is called. So I am explaining this essence of knowledge for the sake of self-abidance. Now why do you say worshipful is the Lord? Here our Guru quotes from Tulsidas, Ramcharitamrita. Sundara sujana kripa, Sundara sujana kripa nidhan, Anata par kar preeti jo, So ek ram akam hita, Nirvana prada saman ko. Sundara sujana kripa nidhana, Anata par kar preeti. No, it is not. Sundara sujan kripa nidhan, Anata par kar preeti jo, So ek ram akam hita, Nirvana prada saman ko. Maybe that's a tune. I'm not sure about that. Who is Sri Rama here? Sundara sujan kripa nidhan. Anyway, you will hear more about Ramcharitamanas next week, so coming week, so you get to know more about it. Let me give only a glimpse of it here. Sundara, most beautiful. Sujan, wise. Kripanidan, abode of all compassion. Anata parakara preetijo, one who gives so much of love for those who do not have anybody else. Anata parakara preetijo. So ek Rama akamakita. He is the one Rama who will do things to you without expecting anything in return. Akamakita. We all do things only when we have something to gain out of it. It's called kama hita. Hita means to do good. When we do it, only when we have something to get out of it. But he is so ek Rama akama hita. Nirvana prada. He who gives the nirvana, liberation. Sama anuko, to everyone. That Rama. So that is why prayojanam anudyashyana mandopi nipavartate. But here he says, the purpose of writing this is specifically to gain self-abidance. Why self-abidance? That is where Rama stays. Bhagavan is staying in one's own heart. I am trying to go and be with him. That is the purpose of writing here. Now you see, what is the first and foremost thing we learn out of this spiritual knowledge? all teachers have indicated, all Upanishads and all scriptural teachings in Hindu origin, that what you think you are is not really who you are. This misunderstanding is the cause of all problems. Our Gurudev used to give the example of a tigress to be precise. She was pregnant and she was moving around in the forest, and then when she was at the time of delivery, could not move further, and some hunters came at that time, they shot her. And he died, giving the birth to a baby, a cub. And that baby, as soon as it was born, it ran to shelter somewhere to hide. And a group of goats which were there, they found this young one. So they decided to protect this young cub. So they took it into their place, and they were sharing the food which they were eating, the grass and then some this and that. This fellow was also eating that one. So when he was eating, and he also made a noise like that of the goat. What is that? How does it? That is the sound it does. Because it is the association of the people, because he doesn't know what else to do. As it was doing and growing up, became a young one, going along with the goats. One day, another tiger happened to look at, hey, who is this one? And along with the goat, how is this fellow is going? And then, and he heard, then that also doing the same noise like that of the goat. This is ridiculous. This is not right. So one day it decided. And when these fellows are doing the grazing there, it went on, chased them, pounced upon. So all of them ran, except this small cub, he could not go, and then he was struggling. So caught him. He was crying. Wait. You are going to kill me? No. Make sound like me. And the tiger made the sound. Tiger makes the sound. Makes the sound. Whatever makes sound. Roar. Tiger doesn't roar. Lion only roars. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So the cub said, oh, I'm afraid of this. Who are you? He said, I and you are the same. No, I am a goat. So he took that cub into a small well of water. Now look. Is it not that you are looking like me? Yes. He said, you are nothing but a tiger. But you are living with the goat, and therefore you behave like that. You make sound like that. You eat like that. But you are not. So then, this cub was taken by the tiger to its about and made him realize that you are a tiger. In the same way, we as individuals living in the midst of people who are miserable, who have limited understanding and limited scope of their own life, will never be able to come out of this misunderstanding. And even when you go to a party or go to any place where you are associated with, people talk only about where they are going for vacation, where they are going for, what dress they have bought, iPhone 5, you got it or not. They only talk about material things and then possession, and then going to vacation, then eating places. No, because that's what they are. Nothing wrong. But if you are with them, obviously you will think like that. Why then do we need to read the scriptures? Because it gives you a different way of thinking. As he says in the next verse, you see page number 6. Dehatma bhavo vishayeshu ragah. कर्तृत्रभावश्च तथैव कर्मसु सत्यत्वबुद्धिः जगतीह यस्य स एव बद्धः पुरुषश्च दुःखी. Sa eva baddha. Such a person alone is bound, caught up. Who? Dukkhi, most miserable. Sa eva baddha purusheshu, purushascha. Such an individual alone is the dukkhi purusha and baddha, bound. He has three mistakes. He has done three mistakes. First is deha atma bhava. I am my body. This is the first mistake. Did anybody tell you that you are the body? Tell them. Your mother, when you are young, you are your body. You are your body. Anybody told you? Now advertisement will say, you are what you eat. But did anybody tell you how to get angry? You learned? Mommy, please tell me how to get angry. Is it not that therefore, on our own, we have taken up certain things for granted? I am this physical body. Dehatma bhavaha. And second, Vishayeshu ragaha. So much attachment to objects which you possess. It's more than you possess, more than the objects you possess, they possess you. Apparently. In fact, it's such an irony. No object that you possess ever says, I am yours. Car, does it say every day? I am your car. Isn't it? I say, it's my car. That's called ahankar. Vishayeshu raga. Raga means attachment to things around. Kartrutra bhavascha tataiva karmasu. And whatever I do, I have so much of it. I am the doer. I did it. Then there's one more thing. Fourth one is buddhihi. It's a jagat iha satyatva buddhi. In this world, whatever we see and experience, we think it is true. Satyatva buddhi jagati iha. He who has these four mistakes. I am the body. Attachment to objects. Whatever I do, I proudly claim that I am the doer. And the fourth one is, whatever I experience through the senses is the truth. Such a person is in bondage. Dukkhi. Swamiji, everybody is like that. What are you saying? I'm not a sannyasi like you. If I had been like you, I would be so happy. No? Do you think so? Nothing else to do. Get up and start talking. Whether somebody listens or not, you keep talking. That's all you need to do. And people bring rickshaw and eat, stay, and keep talking. That's what you do. You must put yourself in our shoes, Swamiji, then you know. I know your shoe will be tied to me, but I don't know. So each one of us have our unique problems. Swami, you don't know about my husband. Oh. You don't know about my family, my in-laws, my outlaws. Oh my God. My brother-in-law, sister-in-law, my children, the Rakshasas. Hey, all these are in condensed form given as the four problems. Dehatma buddhi, Vishayeshu ragaha, kartrutva buddhi, jagati satya buddhi. In English, I am the body idea, attachment to objects, idea of I am the doer, the world I see is real. These four are the major issues of our problem that makes us unhappy. So we will take up each one of them and see why we have this misunderstanding and how it leads to unhappiness. Okay? First of all, we must understand the problem, then only we look for solution. Isn't it? So you go to the doctor and say, give me medicine. First of all, let me see what's wrong with you. I am wrong. No, you are wrong, I know. But what's wrong with your body, that's what I want to know. So only when the diagnosis is correct, the medicine can be dispensed. So we must recognize first of all where the problem is. Then we can go for solution. Okay? So we'll see in the next session. Next week we have Swami Prakashananda, as you know, we might have seen that yesterday also, and last Sunday also we put. He is going to give talks from Tuesday onwards on 2 different subjects, morning and evening. Yes, sir, outside. And then Sunday he will be here in place of me. He will be giving you the lecture. I am on travel. We'll meet again on 30th of September. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhaved. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri